Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have another light video for you guys. I think we only have 5 first appearances, 2 honorable mentions, so only 7 titles in all to go through, but there's definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week ending September 1st, 2023. First up from DC Comics. Action Comics presents Doomsday Special Number 1. This features the first team appearance of the Doomhounds. Now, we always mention this with the DC Comics. It really depends on what they do with these characters they're introducing as to how important these books are going to be in the future and how important these characters are going to be in the future. That being said, though, this issue does feature the first appearance of the Doomhounds. We really don't know anything about these characters and how important they're going to be in the future. So this one here is definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up. It may be worth doing so for the cover price, but in our opinion, this is one you could probably put on your B-list and take a look at later on. Next up from DC Comics, Night Terror's Night's End number 1. This features the first appearance of Dr. Hate. This is also the Night Terror's conclusion. Now, like we just mentioned a moment ago, it really depends on what DC does with these characters they're introducing in the comics as to how important they're going to be. In this Night Terror storyline, there's definitely been a lot of new characters introduced. It really depends on if DC takes these characters into the future, across other storylines, other story arcs, introduces these characters into a small screen, big screen project, as to how important these characters are going to be. If they just keep these characters within this Night Terror storyline, then they probably won't really go anywhere. They might not be all that important in the future. They did introduce a lot of characters in this Night Terror storyline. This issue does feature the first appearance of Dr. Hate. This will definitely be speculative if you choose to pick it up. You're definitely expecting on DC doing something with this character in the future, making this character more relevant. So this is another one we think you probably have some time on. Pick it up if you can, but if you can't though, put it on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, The Incredible Hulk number 3. This features the first appearance and death of Brother Deep. You know, we always say this with the Marvel Comics, it's typically worth picking up the first appearance of new characters in Marvel titles. You know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of media, whether sort of small screen or big screen, and you really don't know where these characters might appear. If they introduce these characters into a TV show, streaming series, or feature film, it'll definitely get a lot more eyes on them, and people will race back to the comics to try to find the first appearance. Given the fact that this features the first appearance and the death of Brother Deep, they clearly can't bring this character across other storylines or other story arcs, but they still can introduce the character into a small screen, big screen project. Very short-lived character. He only exists within the pages of this particular issue, so we really don't know what Marvel has planned. This one here will be a little more speculative just because it does feature the first appearance and the death of Brother Deep. So this one here is definitely a spec bet. Grab it if you can though. If you can't though, put it on your B-list and keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 2 number 3. This features the first full appearance of bo-katan in a standard US comic. This also features the first appearance of Casca Reeves and the first appearance of Axe Woves. Now, given the popularity of the Mandalorian streaming series on Disney Plus, and the fact that this is the first appearance of bo-katan in a standard US comic, this one here is one we do think you should definitely pick up. We typically always recommend picking up the first appearance of new characters within these Marvel published Star Wars titles anyway, just because, you know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of Star Wars media, and you really don't know where any of these characters may end up. So this one here is one we definitely think you should pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. And finally from Marvel Comics, Wolverine number 36. This features the first appearance of the Wolverine, likely a product of the Weapons Plus program. Now, like we just mentioned a moment ago, it's typically always a good idea to pick up the first appearance of new characters in Marvel titles. You really don't know what Marvel or Disney have planned for these characters, and they still are releasing a lot of TV shows, streaming series, and feature films. So you really don't know where any of these characters may appear, and this Wolverine character could be popular. You know, people do love Wolverine, and there's a lot of characters associated with the Weapons Plus program that have become popular. So this one here is another one we definitely think you should pick up and add to your collection. And now for the honorable mentions. From Marvel Comics, Giant Size X-Men number 1 Facsimile. Now this is a facsimile reprint of Giant Size X-Men number 1. Like we always say with these facsimile reprints, these are books you definitely want to pick up and own in your collection. There's a huge secondary market for these facsimiles, you know, because these don't just reprint the story and the art, but all the original ads, just like when the comic was originally released on the shelf many years ago. So a lot of people do love these facsimiles, and they do sell out, and they do typically trade at a premium in the secondary market. So this here's another one we definitely think you should pick up and add to your collection. And finally from Marvel Comics, Ultimate Invasion number 3. This features a debut of Ultimate Kang armor. You know, Marvel has big plans for Kang in the future, and this here is the debut of this new Ultimate Kang armor. We really don't know if this is going to be a big deal going forward, but you know, for $3 or $4, it's probably worth picking up the spec on. This is the debut of this new armor, and like I said, Marvel does have big plans for Kang, especially in the MCU, so it's probably worth having the debut of this Ultimate Kang armor. Like I said, $3 or $4, you could be sitting on a huge winner. If it goes nowhere, then you're out $3 or $4. Definitely worth the risk in our opinion. Go ahead and grab this one here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put it in your B-list, but definitely keep an eye on this one. So there you have the 7 titles that we have for you guys this week. Another short week for you guys, but there's definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Fact Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.